let's get right into it. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of the most essential building blocks in all of SAP S4HANA, the plant. We're going to break down what it is, why it's so incredibly important, and then walk through exactly how you create one in the system. So here's the game plan. First, we'll get a solid handle on what a plant actually is, the what and the why. Then we'll explore how it connects to everything else. After that, we'll get our hands dirty and actually build one. And finally, we'll cover the absolutely mandatory last steps you have to take in S4HANA. Okay, first things first. Before we can build anything, we have to understand the foundation. So, what exactly is a plant when we talk about it in the SAP universe? So, what does that really mean in plain English? A plant is way more than just a 4-digit code. It's the beating heart of your logistics operations. It's the place in the system where all the action happens, where you make things, buy things, fix things, and plan for all of it. You know, this is honestly the perfect way to think about it. The plant you configure in SAP is literally the digital twin of a real-world physical location. If you have a factory in Dallas, you'll have a plant for Dallas in the system. It has to mirror reality. So what gives a plant its unique identity? Well, a whole bunch of things. Each plant gets its own set of material master data, which is huge. It means a product can be set up one way for your US plant and a completely different way for your German plant. Each one tracks its own inventory value, runs its own production schedule. It's a self-contained operational unit. Okay, so a plant is super important. But here's the thing, it never ever works alone. Its real power comes from the way it connects and talks to all the other parts of your company's structure in SAP. And here's our first key connection. This is all about hierarchy. If your plant is the entire warehouse building, then the storage locations are the specific aisles, the different racks, or maybe the receiving dock inside that building. You need that level of detail to really manage your inventory. And here's a little peek at what this looks like when you're actually doing the configuration. You'll notice some really cool features here. For example, a storage location can have its own separate address. Super useful, right? And I love this validity status feature. It lets you phase out old areas without deleting them, which keeps all your historical reporting intact. Now let's talk about buying stuff. The system gives you a ton of flexibility here. You could have a local purchasing team that only buys for this one plant, or you could have a big centralized team that buys for all your plants. You can even have different teams for the same plant, one that buys raw materials and another that buys services. It's all about matching the system to how your business actually works. All right, enough theory. Let's get into the practical side of things. How do we actually go into the system and construct a brand new plant from the ground up? When you get to the main screen for plant configuration, SAP gives you these options. Now let me tell you, 99% of the time, what you're going to do is copy an existing plant. Why? Because it's a massive time saver. It pulls over hundreds of dependent settings automatically, which drastically cuts down on configuration time and, more importantly, potential mistakes. Okay, here's a pro tip for all you future consultants and power users. Write this down. Transaction EC02. This little transaction is your secret weapon. It shows you every single configuration table that is linked to your plant. It's like having the full architectural blueprints. Amazing for troubleshooting and just for understanding the sheer scope of what you're building. And once you think you're done, there's this fantastic check plant function. It works in 2 stages. Step 1 is simple. It's just a quick check to make sure the plant exists where it's supposed to. But step 2, that's the deep dive. It goes through all the connected tables to make sure everything lines up perfectly. It's your built-in quality control check. All right, we've built the framework of our house, but we haven't turned on the power yet. Now, you need to pay really close attention here because this next part is absolutely 100% critical if you are working in SAP S4HANA. Let this one really sink in, because it is the single biggest game changer from the old SAP systems. In S4HANA, using the material ledger isn't just a good idea. It's not a nice to have. It is mandatory. Your plant simply will not function without it being active. So, what is this thing that's suddenly so important? Well, think of the material ledger as the super smart financial engine for all your materials. It's what allows the system to do things like actual costing and value your inventory in, say, both euros and US dollars at the same time. It gives you a much richer, more accurate picture of your costs. So, making this happen boils down to two final non-negotiable steps, and they happen in two different places. First, you go into the configuration, the IMG, and you flip the switch to activate the material ledger for your plant. But you're not done. Second, you have to go to the normal user menu, the easy access screen, and run a special program to set the plant as productive. Only after you've done both is your plant truly ready for business. And just like that, your plant is officially on the map. You've built the central hub for your entire logistics operation. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Now that your foundation is rock solid, what's your next move? What's the next logical piece of the puzzle you're going to connect? Are you going to focus on getting product out the door, or on bringing new materials in?
All right,